afternoon all. Just a little update on the RS feeder. It's actually give up the ghost. It's had enough. Says I've fed too much now, time's up. Now, as you know, a couple of weeks ago I put a video out that my RS feeder was playing up and I thought it was jammed, and I got it working again, but I noticed the fish was sulking and I couldn't understand why, and now I know why. They've had no food. So yeah, I haven't been feeding the fish because the RS feeder actually packed up. So I've reached out to the UK distributor, and unfortunately he's off ill with ill health at the moment, so he's not able to help me out to get a replacement motor. It's actually the motor that's gone. So I've stripped it down basically this afternoon, just to have a look to see if there's anything I can do really. But word of warning guys, if you've got an RS feeder, there's the drum right on cue. One second, I'll just pause you because of the drum. Sorry about that. Word of warning, if you've got an RS feeder, just be careful and do some general maintenance of it, because I'll show you now. I've stripped the motor down. I was eaving, proper eaving. So I'll spin you around and you just have a look at this. Just look at the mouldy food there that's built up on that disc that spins the food. Disgusting. But the whole of the underneath was wedged with mouldy food. So just be careful guys. I don't know if I don't know how toxic this mouldy food is to fish, but if some of that was to break loose and drop in the pond, is that going to cause issues in your pond? I don't know. So word of warning guys, just be a little bit careful when just do a bit of maintenance on your feeder. Basically just get underneath and have a look. I mean, to get the motor out, it was only two wing nuts on there, so you could drop it out now and again and just have a good look in there. It's what I'll be doing now. I didn't expect to have to do it, but it's what I'll be doing from now on. I mean, I love the RS feeder, it is the nuts, but look at that guys, it's absolutely disgusting. So I've got to try and get a replacement motor. As I say, the UK distributor can't help me out because he's off with ill health at the moment, so I'm without feeder at the minute. But yeah, that's not looking good. I'll give you an update as soon as I can track a motor down guys. Catch you in a bit, thanks. Morning. So a bit of an update on the RS feeder. I'll just show you now. So yeah, I've cleaned all the motor up. As I say, it was absolutely minging. All the food build up here was terrible. I've looked online to try and get a motor because the UK distributor, unfortunately, he's not back in until December due to his ill health. So I'm having to try and source one from elsewhere. I've looked online. You can get, these are 12 volt motors. You can get the motors, but you need this threaded shaft. So what happens is the food drops on there. The food drops in, and this shoots. These wing nuts basically shoot the food out. It's a bit of a. It's doing the job, but it's a bit of a poor design in my opinion. And these motors are only, well, you can see how small that motor is. Let me just get a measure. That motor, look. It's only 50mm long, so it's not a very big motor. And considering, especially when you're at the height of feeding, pretty heavy, that's doing a lot of work. If you're feeding, I mean, you can do 26 feeds a day on that. If that was running 26 feeds a day, it'd have burnt out a lot quicker, I think. But I think with all that build up of food that was in there, I think that's contributed to burning the motor out. Anyway, I digress a little bit. So the guy who's the the sole distributor in the UK doesn't carry spares, or he can't, sorry, due to his ill health, he couldn't help me out, and he's told me to contact RSFEEDER in the Netherlands. So that's what I've had to do, and you have to buy the whole complete unit from them. I've got no choice. I've got to order it, which I have done. It's come to €65, I think, for the whole complete unit. But just sorry about the fingers. So it's one of them. In the koi world, if your system goes down, you need to get it back up. I know it's only a feeder and I can hand feed, blah de blah de blah. You can have. I've got a temporary feeder for now, but it's one of them things in the koi world. If your system goes down, especially air, you need to get it back up and running quickly. So I do carry a lot of stuff: spare pumps, spare air pumps, spare vari pumps, etc. But I didn't carry a spare. I sold my spare feeder, unfortunately. But I didn't have any spares for the RS feeder. So the thing is, when you've got these companies that are small companies, like the person who sells the RS feeders and doesn't carry spares, you're up against it if it goes down. So just bear that in mind when you're buying anything to set up on your pond. You need backup. You need to be able to know that you can get spare parts sharpish. As I say, it's only a feeder at the end of the day. It's no biggie because I can hand feed. It's no issue. But if that was something detrimental to the pond that was going to stop the fish and harm the fish, I'd be flapping big time. So just consider that when you for new pond builders, really, when you're shopping around for pumps, filters, feeders, etc., etc., question the spares. Are they readily available? Have you got to ship? Have you got to get them shipped in from abroad? I know Vince had a few issues not long back with his Filtro drum. Now he couldn't get a motor, and he was flapping because obviously his pond was down and the water was going to poo. Luckily, he reached out to obviously the community, and then I knew that Nigel at 5 Towns Koi kept them on the shelf. But the thing that happened was Nigel sold his, and within a few days he'd sold out of all his spares, and then his filter went down and he hadn't got a motor for his own filter, so he was struggling. So just bear in mind, guys, just make sure the spares are readily available. Or any guys out there who's got an RS feeder, looking at that, guys, anybody who's got an RS feeder will be in the same boat as me, not in not too distant future, I would imagine. So I would consider getting a replacement just on the shelf ready, because it is going to go down. It will go down. That feeder's about 3 years old, I think, so it hasn't lasted that long, really. I've had it on in the height. It was only running 6 times a day, so it wasn't running a great deal, really. I was doing a lot of hand feeding and stuff, but as I say, I think it was that build up of muck that's put pressure on that motor. I will start doing general maintenance on that feeder, making sure that that doesn't get clogged again, just to hope that it does prevent it happening again. I'll probably coat the motor with some waterproof grease or something before I put it in when it comes. I'm going to give you an update when the motor comes, because I ordered it yesterday, so obviously we've got the weekend. There ain't going to be a lot happening the weekend, I wouldn't have thought, so I'll let you know how long it takes to get from the Netherlands, and then I'll get it back on. As I say, I have been out and bought a temporary feeder for now. I bought one of them P7000s. They're ideal for this sort of situation as a spare. And in all fairness, I'll probably leave that on all through the winter now, and because I'm not going to be feeding much anyway. But I'm going to leave it there, and I'll update you when the motor comes, so you can see how long it takes to come. And then, as I say, guys, anybody with an RS feeder, I would contemplate getting a motor in as a spare. If anybody does manage to source any in the UK locally, that would be good to know. Put it in the comments if you know of anybody locally who will have them, because that'll help other people who've got RS feeders then. As I say, the local distributor, sorry, not local distributor, the UK distributor of these RS feeders, unfortunately, he's not going to be back to work till at least December. So in these situations, if it was a filter or a pump, that would be a difficult situation, obviously, because he's the sole distributor. But yeah, guys, let's see what happens, and I'll update you when the motor arrives. I'll catch you later, guys. Thanks. Afternoon. So it says I'll give you an update when my motor come. So before we get into that, this is the old motor off the RS feeder. Now this was caked up, all in here was caked up with food, mouldy food. It was disgusting, it really was. So what happens is that sits in the feeder like that, and there's an hole in the feeder. I will show you when I fit the new motor, but there's an hole in the feeder. This goes up through the hole, and this basically rotates to churn the food up, which drops onto this plate, which then disperses out of the feeder. But as I say, I'll show you that when I put it back on the feeder. So that's the old one. I've cleaned it up the best I can. It has seized up, the motor has. I know that now from looking at the one that's just been delivered. So that's solid, that is. I mean, I've had that soaking in solution for a day or so to see if it would free the motor up, but unfortunately it won't. It's seized solid, it is. But unfortunately I couldn't find just the motor. So as I said earlier on in the video, I reached out to the UK distributor, and he couldn't help me. He's off ill till December, unfortunately. He told me to contact RSFEEDER directly, which I did do, and they did respond fairly quickly, but they only work 2 days a week. So I placed my order. It's €65 I think it was, but it comes as a complete unit, not just the motor. So I placed my order, and it's taken a week to get here. I did chase the order, as I say, but they said that they only work 2 days. So unfortunately, I suppose a week's not so bad, but if it was like a filter or an air pump or something that was detrimental to your pond, you would be panicking. Feeder, it's not so bad because you can get by without a feeder if you're at home, or there's somebody at home that can chuck an handful of food in, or you've got a temporary feeder, which I have done now. I've got a temporary feeder. So yeah, I've cleaned that up the best I can. That is the old one. As I say, it's seized solid. So the new one has come, which is identical, comes with a bracket and everything. However, I don't know whether they've had issues, but if you see on the end of the motor here, they've put like a sealant. So there's a sealant on there that obviously protects the motor from the elements. Not only that, on the new type, I did know this because I was sent one, but on the new type they've got this grommet thing, this bung with an hole in the bottom, which I presume lets condensation out, but that just slips over the motor and the wires just to protect it. So that's going to sit in the feeder like that. So as I say, the food drops onto there, spins off, but I will show you that when I've got it all back together on the pond. I don't know whether I'm going to be using the RS feeder over the winter now. I might just switch it off and just carry on with the temporary feeder that I've got, but that's basically the new one. Yes, it's identical. I have managed to find just the motor with the shaft, none of the disc or the bracket or anything, on AliExpress. It has to be threaded here, because that's what obviously churns the food and drops it onto here and chucks it out into the pond. And they were £14.95, I think. So yeah, there is a saving to be made there, but I might just take for £14.95. I might take the chance and get one in, because I do want one just in case this one goes. I don't want to get in the same situation as I did before, so I might just send for that motor for the sake of £14.95 and then just use the bracket and the gubbins off this one. So yeah guys, I'm going to get this fitted back into the feeder. I'll show you how it's positioned in the feeder. I'm not taking it completely off the pond because all the cable's all hidden, and I don't really want to dig all my gravel and everything up to get the cable out. But I'll show you the best I can further on in the video, guys. Gonna leave it there for now, and I'll come back to you. Catch you in a bit. Thank you. So that's the underneath of the feeder. I've just had to put a light on, it's not great. That's just the cable that goes onto the motor, but that's basically the underneath of the feeder. And what happens is the motor goes up through there, fixes on here with 2 screws, which I'll show you in a sec. I've got all my pond covered in now, so it's a bit restricted. If I just show you, I haven't got that much room here. Sorry about the camera work. Let me get this in a more comfortable position then, and then I can show you. Oops. So I'm using a gimbal as well. I'll just get this in a bit more comfortable position, and then I'll show you the inside before I put the motor in. 1 second. I'll see if I can show you inside now. So that's basically inside the feeder. There's nothing really inside that feeder, apart from that cable that's running down to go down underneath and then into the motor. So I'll grab the motor now and I'll show you how it all goes in. Just a second, guys. So what happens is, I don't know whether you can see very well, you've got the Wago plugs just on the bottom here, and that's basically what the wires go into. And you've got obviously red to red and black to black. I know they've put that coating on, but you can still see the colours. Sorry if there's people out there that already know this kind of thing, but so you put your red to your red, obviously, and then you put your black to your black. And then basically this goes that way up inside, with 2 bolts. These 2 bolts. So I'm going to put this on now because it's a bit difficult. Get it tidied up, and then I'll show you the finished article, and then obviously I'm going to test it to see if it works. Fingers crossed, but it can't be anything else. That, as I say, that other motor is definitely seized up. But I'm just going to get this back together, so I need to cable tie that and stuff, and then I'll snap back to you guys. Okay, so that's back together now. I don't know whether you can see right down the very bottom. So the food drops down there, and then 2 wing nuts just stir the food up. The food drops onto that plate, and when the plate spins, it just drops the food out the bottom. That's all there is to it. I'm going to get this back on the pond now and get it connected up just to make sure it works. Catch you in a bit, guys, thanks. Just putting it back on the pond now, but I wasn't happy with the position of the disc, because you can alter the position of the disc for different size pellet. So I just want to change that. It was kind of the gap was too tight. I just want to make the gap a bit bigger. I know I'm only using 3mm pellets, but I'd like to see it just a slightly bit bigger. And it's dead easy to change. It's just those I don't know why there's 1 wing nut and 1 nylock nut. I don't understand it. I'd have thought that I'd just put 2 nylock nuts on there. I presume there's a reason behind it, but that reason, I don't know what that reason is. So going forward with this, as I said to you, now I know that it gets a build up of food, which I've never noticed before. I've noticed on the inside it does. If you don't use all the food out before refilling it, you do get kind of a build up down the sides. I have noticed that, but I've never noticed the build up underneath. But to be fair, I can honestly say I've never really looked, which you don't tend to, do you? You don't give, until something happens, you don't tend to do it, do you? And that's probably what the issue. 1 second, I just need to get some more tools. There's a saying, isn't there, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So you tend to just leave it alone. But now I've been through this problem, I will be doing regular maintenance on this feeder, to be fair. And anybody who's got these feeders, I suggest you do the same, really, just to make sure that underneath is clear of any mouldy food, because there is traps under there. You've got the cable, you've got the bracket which the food just drops onto, and then you've got that boot. I can see that the food can drop into that boot, really, and I think that motor needs to be enclosed or changed in somewhat. I mean, it's not rocket science how these are put together, but I think it could be improved, and I think there's clever people out there who could get this, well, when theirs break, and improve that motor. But that didn't take long to put together, guys. Sorry about the camera. I'll just try and move it out of the way. It didn't take long to put together. It took longer to get the bits. But lesson learned. If you've got RS feeders out there, I would really consider getting a spare. It's just a shame that the UK distributor hasn't got them, for you to be able to get them without paying the shipping costs from the Netherlands and stuff. It's one of them, isn't it? Would have been a lot cheaper if I hadn't got the shipping involved, but unfortunately I had. As I say, it come to €65, I think it was, but it is a complete unit. So that's all back together now. There's just the lid to go on. There's no seal or anything in there. It's not an airtight unit. The unit's not airtight. It's just well, you can get, there's air underneath, there's air on top, so there is air getting round the system, But unless that food's getting replenished regularly, I presume it is going to go mouldy, isn't it? It's not like your fish mate P7000s and that, where they've got a sealed lid and stuff like that, and the Evolution Aqua ones. It's kind of open. When I got it, I did expect it to be to be honest, I expected there to be a plastic sleeve in there, if you like, that you could just lift out and lift back in when you put the food in, but it's not. It's simple, and these are expensive, guys. I mean, if you look on the internet, there's still suppliers selling them for 650 quid, and I've seen them down to 500 quid. It's a lot of money for what it is, and for the motor not to last that long, bit of a wounder. But it's up and running. Well, we'll give it a test now to make sure it's working. And then, as I say, I don't think I'm going to use it for the winter now. I think I'm just going to leave it and just keep the P7000 running. Just going to put some food in and give it a test, and I'll come back to you. Thanks. So that's now back up and running. Yeah, it was the motor. I put food in, I've tested it. I'm not going to, I've decided I'm not going to use that feeder over the winter. I'm just going to leave it now till the spring, and then I'll get it back up and running in the spring. I have got a temporary feeder, as I keep saying, and I'm just going to use that. So just a bit of a food for thought. If you have got an RS feeder, I would really consider getting a spare motor, so you don't get caught out, unless you're prepared to wait a week. Unless when the guy comes back, who's the UK distributor, he reaches out and says, yeah, I've got these motors in stock, you can have them next day. I just don't know. But you just get a bit stressed when things go down like that, especially with the expense of them. As I say, they're not cheap, so to be honest, I really do like it. I mean, it's a cracking bit of kit. Looks well. There's not a lot to it. There really isn't a lot to it. It's just dead simple. The timer, I believe, is off deer feeders when I've looked into it, so they're not difficult to get, I wouldn't have thought. It's just this motor, but that motor's not man enough, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I know there's a few people with these feeders, and they might turn around and say, well, I've had mine 4 years and it's not packed up. Guys, if you've had your feeder for 4 years and you haven't done any maintenance on it, just look underneath. Empty all the food out from the chamber and just look down the sides. There's like a V down the sides. Just look down there, because food does build up there. But other than that, I'm back up and running, so that's the main thing. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for your continued support. There's a lot of people that reach out to me and say that they enjoy what I'm doing. I'm glad you do. I'm glad it's helping others. I've put this video together over a week, obviously, because I've had to wait for the spares and things, just to give you an insight into that. I hope you guys are all settled in now, ready for the winter. I know I've got all my covers on. I've just put the sheet all the way around. I know I've got the polycarb on the top of the pond, but last year I put polycarb around the sides, but I didn't have enough to go all round, so I went for the cheaper option this year. And to be fair, it does keep a fair bit of heat in. I've gone all the way around. I'll just give you a quick show, guys. I know I'm holding you up. 1 second. See if I can spin this. Oh, that ain't very good, is it? It's alright. As I say, I'm using a gimbal. I don't really know how to use it, in all fairness. See, as you can see. Whoa. That's it, you're back. So yeah, I've got it all the way around. I've got it all the way around the pond. I can roll that up. I've got it on a bit of a roller that I just roll up. And I've got done down the side down here. There you go. So that's it, I'm going to leave it there. I don't know when I'll do another video, as you know, with the winter. There ain't a lot to do in the winter. But yeah, Fred's doing fine now. I have had her out again and treated her. Methylene blue, way forward for me, to be fair. She's healing really well now. I'm glad because I'm going into winter. But guys, have a good winter, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Job's a fish.